I chose grace as last week's word for the week because grace is something I struggle to afford myself. If you're interested in skipping all of the pleasantries and just getting straight to the point, I have a chapter timestamps listed in the description box below. Feel free to skip this introduction. I'll see you soon. Bro. Welcome to my channel. I am Fronten'a, and today I'm going to be reading you my audio blog shorts compilation for my word of last week. That word was grace. For the written version of this blog, or to read each blog individually, visit me on my website. The link will be listed below. Now, I wasn't going to say nothing, but since y'all brought it up, go ahead and make sure you subscribe. Go on now. I'll wait. Do 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 do. Woo, child! I thought I was gonna have to tell y'all twice. Ooh, and really quick, do y'all remember that one time when I was telling y'all about that one time? Y'all remember that? Well, anyway, to make a long story short, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, okay? Now, let's get into this audio blog. I chose grace as last week's word for the week because grace is something I struggle to afford myself. I remind myself often to be mindful of how I handle me, and if I am not giving myself the grace to be human, then I am not handling me with care at all. So I made my focus for last week to be grace, and I worked on that each day. Word for the week, grace. Yesterday, I spent the morning running from one store to another looking for Valentine's Day cards for my kids to pass out in class at the last minute, and I was really upset about this. You see, at the beginning of the school year, parents were given a notice that there would be no celebrations of any holidays of any kinds, including birthdays. My thoughts, okay, understood. Then I get there to drop off my kids, and each and every kid in both of my girls' classrooms had cards to pass out. I felt guilty because I didn't want my kids to be the only ones with no cards to hand out, so I immediately went out to see cards for them. Well, just like everything else since the perineum began, the shelves where the V-Day cards should have been were bone dry. Not a card, nothing, nada. I was upset with myself for not confirming with the school beforehand. Long story short, I ended up running to Walmart and throwing together little healthy snack bags, and that worked just fine. Problem was, I stayed hard on myself even after the crisis was averted, and I had to remind myself, this is not a big deal, and I deserve to cut myself some slack. So, for this week, my word for each day will be grace. Fronten'a, I give you grace to overlook the small things, and I encourage you guys to do the same. Word of the week, grace, episode 2. Yesterday was my daughter's 8th birthday, and we had to have a complete change of plans because it rained and it was supposed to be an outdoor party. The new plan seemed to be just fine with her, but I felt sad because ever since the perineum, her last 2 birthdays have had to be a just us party. And this was going to be one of the first parties that we could invite guests to celebrate with us. Long story short, after a bit of a cry and confirmation from my daughter that she had a good time, I let it go. So for this week, my word for each day is grace. Fronten'a, I give you grace to feel your feelings and cry when you need to. From my daughter that she had a good time, I let it go. Damn it! I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb.
That was funny. Dang it.
Word of the week, grace, episode 3. I am constantly trying to remind myself to not acknowledge people when they say something about me that is hurtful or not even true. I like to believe that I've mastered the art of this, but I am constantly being tested. It is so hard to have people saying things about you that is false and me just not respond. Because if you're human, your natural reaction is to want to respond and defend yourself. It is hard to ignore, but I know it is the best for my mental health. So I'm going to allow myself to be human and be frustrated about it. And remember, it is something I cannot control. I also reminded myself that people are going to believe whatever they want to believe, and people are going to run with whatever narrative they choose. I'm going to keep working on resisting the need to want to respond and remember that fighting a fight that I was never designed to win is counterproductive. So for this week, my word for each day is grace. Fronten'a, I give you grace to have an authentic reaction when someone is not handling you with care. You are human and your emotions are natural, and I want to invite you all to do the same for yourself. Word of the week, grace. Episode 4. I had a dentist appointment yesterday for a cleaning, and while there, the dentist tells me I also need a filling for a deep cavity under a previous filling, and he also wanted to do a tooth extraction. Both procedures I was not planning on. Then I said, well, if I need it, I need it, and I allowed the dentist to take care of everything he recommended. Long story short, I had to cancel my entire day because my jaw felt like I had taken a punch from someone with metal boxing gloves on. I was bummed because I had an extremely busy day planned and had to be canceled. While I was laying in bed resting, I was beginning to feel lazy for just recovering. I checked myself and remembered I am human and it's okay to have human needs. So for this week, my word for each day is grace. Fronten'a, I give you grace to take rest when you need it. In the description box below, tell me if giving yourself grace is something that you also struggle with. And if not grace, what is something that you struggle with? And how are you overcoming it? Remember, sharing your struggle is not only good for you because talking about it releases it, but it might also be a blessing to someone else. So let's chat about it in the comments. Oh, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss next week's word of the week so we can work on it together. Next week's word is boundaries. And y'all, I am a self-proclaimed boundaries setting expert. Well, anyway, y'all remember to be mindful of how you allow others to handle you and forgive yourself for how you've handled you. Please consider becoming a part of my village. I think you'll like it here. Until next time.
Bad little flex, she wanna know me. I stay low key, all gas, no brakes, baby, let them hoes sleep. Body on tip.